Okay, so this is the video on the disassembly and reassembly of the SKS. Now mine particularly, mag's unloaded. Mine particularly has a couple of stiff pins and it has a different stock than normal. This is the gay American stock. But that said, it's a very good stock. It's just it doesn't have the cleaning kit in the back, and it has a really thick recoil pad. If you're into that, that's good though. I just don't particularly like it all that much. So, the tools you'll need is some sort of punch. If you have the Russian stock, you get one of these in the cleaning kit that comes in the back. And you need something to hit it with. And I'm using this mallet because it's soft against it and it doesn't hardly make any noise. Doesn't really matter what kind of mallet you use. So first off, right here there's kind of a pallet. Pull that pallet up until it's about here, and then pop it out, and then put it back at a 90. And pop it out the rest of the way. And when it stops, it kind of pushes your dust cover back. Just take this right off. And now you can have your spring and take it right out too. Now, take your bolt and pull it back all the way until it kind of sets up a little bit. And then when you're taking it off, push it kind of forward a little bit so it doesn't take your actual bolt with it. Here's your actual bolt. Now you can just pop that pin back in, get it out of the way. Now here, this little T-shaped pin right here, this is what we're going to do next. See, okay, right here there's a little hole. This is where you want your punch to go. Right there in that little hole. Not any of these, this one here on the bottom. And you want to take it and put the gun back towards yourself and push the pin up towards yourself. Don't push into the gun because you can damage your gun that way. Okay, once you have that up, once you have this up, you can see the axle of it is flat on one side. Let me show you. It's flat on one side. It's not totally round. You want to kind of work it so that you can get your gas tube out. Be careful while you do this because there's parts in here that'll fly out. Like I said, there's parts that are stiff on mine. My piston won't come out the other side, so I've got to knock it this way so it comes out here and then force it out from there. If yours is like that, I would do that. Okay, now this is where you need to be careful. You want to put your thumb right here on top and just move this pin, because this thing is extremely tight and it'll fly away. Space these out. Okay. Now you can push this pin back down. Okay, now in here there is another pin, and you can't really see it being a pin, but you can see a little silver dot inside there. That's a divot. You want to stick your punch in that little divot. Make sure your safety's on, otherwise it won't work. I always want to make sure your safety's on, but for this you have to have your safety on or else it won't work. You're going to just hit that one time and it pops your trigger group so that your trigger group kind of comes up a little bit. There you go. Now, you don't really have much of anything left. Oh yeah, you want to take your cleaning rod out from here. It looks kind of like a ramrod. You just pull it down and then it'll slide right up. Now you want to get your barrel off of the stock. Before I do that, I'm actually going to take this strap off really quick. I say it's really quick. It's pretty hard to actually do. Oh no, it's not. Well, it wasn't hard that time. It was hard before. What I do is right here, you see your magazine goes here, your trigger group comes in here. This metal piece back here, right behind the spring, I take my big piston out of the gas tube, take the big end and put it in there. I put my hand on the back so it falls into my hand, and just push it until it gives. And then you have to kind of slide the stock off of it. Okay, so that's totally disassembled. Let me show you. Here's everything. Oh, not everything. Here's everything. You have your bolt group here, your trigger group, your gas group, your barrel group. So, now we're going to put it back together. What we first want to do is take our stock and flip it up like this, set it down, and do the same thing with our barrel so that we can get our strap on the right way. And it's not hard to figure out how to get it on and off. It's just kind of hard to actually do. There it is. Get it evened out. Okay. So, on your barrel, come on now. You can see there's kind of a little ring right here. You want the top of your stock to go in that little ring first. So, you put it in there first so that everything else fits, and then just pop it till it clicks. Okay, now your barrel is pretty much just sitting inside the stock. It's not even locked on. So to lock it in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our trigger group in. Okay. With the gun, this is where your trigger group is. This direction. Like this. So we're going to flip the gun over, and we're going to flip the trigger group over with it. Now, there's a little hole right here. Here, let me see if I can get it. Yeah, this little hole right here, that little hole right there is for this big stud. You want this one to go in that hole before anything, otherwise nothing will fit. So once you get that, everything should fall in pretty nicely. And it's kind of hard to push this in, so you push it till it clicks. Again. Now you're good with all that. Take this pin back out and take your spring first, this spring here. It's kind of wrapped. Just slide that right down there in that hole. You don't even really have to see the hole, that's why I'm not showing you. Take this little piston and slip it down in that spring and continue to kind of hold this up because this is what locks it in. And what I usually do is I usually take this big piston here and take the back end of it and push it down with that. There. Now it's locked in. There's no possible way for this gun to fire right now, so I'm not doing anything dangerous. There's nothing in the gun. None of the mechanisms are hooked up. So you want your gas tube and your piston out of your gas tube. Take the big end of your gas tube and the small end of your piston and put those together so that they feed in. And now this little hole right here, put your big end up kind of inside that and lock it on. Now take and push this up and lock it in. And then lock your pin back down. There we go. Now for your bolt group, just like earlier, you're going to take your bolt and with the gun, it should look like this. Study that. Look exactly like this. There's a little slit back here that you can see. This little slit here is for the bigger end of your bolt. So put those together, make sure it's as far back as it can go. Take your bolt carrier and lock the hooks together on them. And then push your unit forward. Take your spring and put the little twisted end in first. And let it stick up like this. Take your dust cover and put it down on top of your spring. Take your pin out again. And then lock everything in place. Now, make sure everything works, and dry fire one time. And that is all. You have just successfully disassembled and reassembled an SKS.